Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my NieR very hard video walkthrough. Technically NieR Automata, and we're playing as 9S, so it's the second of the campaigns that leads to the second ending. And we're moving through what was known as Chapter 5, the Excavation land. And this is going to be taking us to the village of Pascal, with the friendly robots, who can be killed if you want to do that, but why would you do that, you mean bastards? And just like we did last time, I'm going to be making a pretty direct route to the zone, while picking up as many items as I can, and kind of getting on with the game. So, there's going to be some trimming out some sequences, just like I've been doing for most of the walkthrough. Whenever we get to a section where there's any kind of cutscene or any kind of overly long section where I'm not doing anything, I will be removing that. There's a really fun part here. If you can get in front of this little messenger, he can push you, but it's very difficult to keep him pushing you and keep that speed boost happening. But somebody left a comment being frustrated at the fact that I boost a lot when I'm moving. I press the evade while I move. Apparently, you move faster if you don't evade. Well, that's kind of funny that you should say that, dude, because in all the speedruns I've watched for this game, none of them are doing your technique, so you're wrong. Not that this is a speedrun. I like to evade because it keeps my hands warm. Whenever I play a game such as this, where there's a lot of movement involved and there's a lot of downtime, I like to do things to keep myself occupied while I'm waiting for the downtime to end. And in a game such as this, I jump and I boost a lot. And jumping slows you down, definitely, but the standard boost is perfectly fine. And I like pressing buttons. It's just one of those things. But this is the village, and this is where we can talk to some dudes. As I stand in front of this guy waving his flag, and we get the nice song transition into the crazy, like, child chanting music. And once we've talked to Pascal, we will be looking around the village and talking to some of the residents, because we got the fuel filter that we'll be taking back to the camp, the resistance camp, which I'll probably be doing immediately, because I don't even think you have to talk to too many people here. It's just up to you. There's a lot of side quests, there's a lot of opportunities to get some experience. Experience definitely helps. It can make the game flow a lot smoother, which could have been achieved by better mechanics, but I guess I'll just have to stick with those people who are letting their admiration blind them to the game's flaws. But if you come up past this back area, it's going to lead to a shortcut. It's the same one evidenced when we played as the other character, and we get to push the block and then rush back through the ruined city to get to where we need to go. And I'm trying to think about if there's anything specific to 9S that I haven't discussed. Oh, there's a transition of me running across the plane, because you don't need to see that. You saw that a lot when I was playing as 2B. But hacking with 9S is really powerful, and you'll notice I'm not doing too much of it. It's not because I don't like the hacking, or I have something against it, it's because I just forget to do it. You spend so much of this game doing the combat that when it comes to the hacking, it's not something that comes immediately to mind unless I have to do it. But it shouldn't be ignored, because it's pretty much 9S's strongest suit. But we transition back into Pascal's village. I'm assuming at this point, guys, if you've come to this village, to this video, sorry, that you know where these places are, these landmarks. If you're looking for a walkthrough that covers specifically paths to get to these places and you're on your first run, you might want to check out the other walkthrough, because that one is a little bit more streamlined to where you're meant to go in the game. It's one of the pitfalls of making harder difficulty walkthroughs. The assumption that I make is that you've beaten the game before and you're looking to beat it on an ascended level to try and get either a trophy or an achievement, or just to prove that you can and get that feeling of satisfaction. And I'm assuming you know the game, because that's kind of what my walkthroughs are. This assumption that you're coming here for the encounters and the actual challenging parts, and it's just the simple pathfinding is something you've already figured out and you already have committed to memory. Not everybody will. Some people think that walkthroughs should have cutscenes in them and show everything, which is an interesting observation and dialogue, but I don't agree with that. As we push through the main part here, and you'll notice the world goes back into being rather ugly and dull, because of course the dust is being kicked up by these giant Goliaths, which is the next fight we're going to be doing. And the Goliath fight is an interesting one, because the first phase is it's kind of awkward. And then in the second phase, there are a couple of active hitboxes that can be very dangerous to dodge, so you need to be aware of them. I've already spoke of this in another video, but I want to reiterate it because it's dangerous. In the first phase, dodging the arms can be a little bit awkward because the hitbox lingers way more than it did before, and the detection on the dodge just isn't there. You can get dodges off it, and you can dodge it, that's not to say you can't, but it leads to these moments where you feel like you dodged it fine and you died, or you got hit. So I would recommend, just for safety reasons, to dodge it visually, rather than dodging it based on iframes and timing, like you did on that first encounter on Prologue. And to do it, the best way is to strafe to the opposite direction while shooting, and then attack it, and then strafe back the other way. And this is one way of completely mitigating the need to dodge, while still being able to deal damage. Because he's going to do left, right kind of sequences, and once you've done this fight a couple times, you know how it works. If you want to skip it a little bit and speed it up, you can use some of the power-ups that give you increased range damage and increased melee damage, and increase your damage that way. You can wear chips that will give you extra damage and what have you. And here he is, good old Engels. So his face is a weak point, and depending on how powerful your ranged attack here will depend on how quick this is. And this particular technique here, if you shoot at the nozzle where the bullets come from, you can cancel the spread before it exists. It's a really powerful one. But here comes the right straight, then it's followed by a left straight, and then it's followed, I believe, by a right straight. So all I'm doing here is moving back and forth, hitting them accordingly, and that's the end of his little flurry of combos. And there's his double fister, which if you don't move and you stay in the middle, it generally never touches you, because it's one of those attacks that I don't really know what's the purpose of its design. That's kind of this entire phase of this boss fight. There are all these moves that you don't have to dodge. Attacks that you don't have to dodge seems kind of pointless to me, especially when you consider that in that first prologue, they mastered this technique. They made the perfect fight. Like, look at that. It's 20 yards away from me when it comes down. Why? Why doesn't it work the same? You know, in a video game, it's kind of a very simple thing. When you fight something, it tries to strike you, and you press the dodge or the block or whatever button they afford you to stop that from happening. And this is a fight where you don't even have to do anything. You can kind of stand at the front of the lip and nothing hits you. And I can't tell if it's intentional, because they wanted it to be different to the other fight and make it feel fresher, you know, because it is essentially just the same enemy again. Or if it's just more of the spectacle of it. He's breaking the building, he's not attacking you technically. I don't really know what it is, but can you think of many bosses that when they try to swing at you, they don't even land anywhere near you? Because I can't. Unless there's some kind of massive specific, you know, he has to slam his hand down so you can climb it, or you can break it and then reveal his face. Because, you know, if you compare this to Devastator from Transformers Devastation, which is another Platinum game, another game that people seem to be way more critical than this game of, even though I believe fervently that Devastation is a better game than this, which a lot of people are going to be aghast and, oh my god, how can you say that, we love NieR. And I appreciate that you like NieR and it's interesting and it's goofy and everything, it's just mechanically it's not as good as that other game. And that's just the truth, guys. That is not a personal bias, I don't take any pleasure in saying it, it's just true. Transformers Devastation is a game that is so majestically designed that you can do all of it and it makes perfect sense, every single part of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. Yet people keep lumping it in with these Activision branded Platinum games that aren't as good as the proper Platinum games, and it's not true, you know. Transformers Devastation is a fantastic game, and more so, it has fantastic mechanics. You might not like the fact that you reuse that city a lot, you might not like the fact that all you do is fight Decepticons and there's no real diversity. You know, you might not like the fact that it's pretty much ripping off Bayonetta 100% with very nominal additions. But Bayonetta is a great formula, you know why? Because the fucking mechanics work. And I can't say the same here. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do, because that's what happens when you get these two very vastly different schools of design coming together, and that's the result that you get. You know, the NieR game is very popular in its market, in its niche of players, because it is so wonderfully different and dysfunctional. If NieR was a massive, you know, super mechanically perfect game, I don't think anybody would have cared as much. Because that's the thing that happens with a lot of titles like that, these kind of eclectic titles. They become endearing a lot of the times because of the flaws in them. Like, look at stuff like Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition is a stupid game. It's a really stupid game. It's so Japanese, it's so goofy, it's so bootleg Twin Peaks. And the shooting is functional but borderline awful. Everything about it is kind of jarringly bootleg and band-aided together. But it works. It might not be, you know, the same level as some of its competitors, but it works. The reason that anybody cares about that game is not because it works. It's because of all the goof. It's because of how stupid it is and how crazy it is, and then how cohesive the story is by the end, even though it's preposterous and silly. It comes together, and how the character development is actually there, rather than all these games we see where they want us to care about these people and then they kill them off systematically before they've given us time to ever be with them to forge any kind of relationship. Like, Deadly Premonition is a victory because of how many things about it were broken and yet still managed to work. And that's why that is very similar to like NieR in a lot of ways. That's why that is so popular and it's so kind of counterculture, because it is so very different to the standard video game format, and it's very charming. And I think this game is the same with that. I think it's very charming as well. I think if you come to this as just a game and you just want to play and like you're a NieR fan, I think you're gonna adore it. I really do. I think it's probably gonna be one of your game of the years. But if you're a player like me, who comes to games to analyse difficulty and to see how mechanics work, and you're constantly seeking just this halcyon golden ratio of mechanics where everything is just beautiful and works perfectly and has all this endearing value, then I don't think that this is the game. I really don't. And people are taking my words when I'm saying things like this as if to mean that the game is utter shit, and it's not, you know. The game isn't shit. It's just not this perfect masterpiece that it's being portrayed as by a lot of sources. It could have been a masterpiece, I think. It could have been a lot better than it is. But there are some really, really interesting, pivotal designs in it that go against what makes these games so enjoyable. And a lot of the people who are defending it, I don't think are Platinum fans. I don't think are Character Action fans. I think they're NieR fans. Because it's easy when you love something and you hold something so closely to look past the flaws and to just accept them. Which is what people do to a lot of games. It's what I did to Kane and Lynch 2. I always go back to Kane and Lynch 2. That game's not a great game. It's a pretty average game at best, but I really like it because it ticks my boxes. It ticks what I enjoy. And now we have the Adam and Eve boss fight, which it's actually trickier now as 9S, I think. I don't know if you can hack him. I don't know if I tried. But the thing you need to know here is the same you need to know the last time we did it. You can get attacked by the other boss when he's trying to attack 2B because this part is badly designed. This guy is going to attack you with a whole host of different techniques, and all you have to do is wait for this conversation to end. You don't have to kill him, you don't have to attack him. And all I'm going to do is bait some of these big charges, and I'm going to try and get him to block, because if I can get him to block, he'll waste time inside his little bubble shield, and then I can get on with my life. But if you attack that bubble shield, he can reflect it. You don't want to do that because it's much more difficult dodging the reflection than it is dodging some of his other moves. And be careful of when he turns into that big kind of golden woven crane thing and he comes lunging towards you, because that's one of the ones where I've been hit by that when it was nowhere near me. And then there's times when it's been super on me and it didn't touch me, so it can be a little bit hit and miss with its detection. And that's all we're doing, folks. It's not really a boss fight, it's the absence of a boss fight. And I find it interesting because I was so excited for this game. So excited. I spent like 5 hours designing After Effects slides so that I could do all kinds of interesting videos with this game to help players play it, to help players understand the mechanics. And then you realise that half the mechanics are self-evident and the other half don't work. and it's way more RPG than it is action game. So all of the stuff I was hoping to delve into and share with people is just doesn't exist. It's a very spammy, like listless kind of action game, and it's heartbreaking to me. It really is. I had so many plans to make all these different videos, and I'm not going to make any of them, guys, because it's just not for me. I've had my fun with the game, and I love the soundtrack. It's such an interesting thing. Like, the soundtrack in this game is so good, it makes me want to play the game. But the gameplay of this game is so hit and miss for me that it makes me not want to play the game. It's a very interesting dichotomy. But this is Jackass. She's going to be down here talking to us, and now we have access to the ability to fast travel. So now the game is going to be a lot smaller, and we're going to be able to boost around the zones, and it's going to improve one of the issues that I have with the main core of the game, which is of course the saving. Because now we're going to be warping directly to save points, and we've got no excuse to save. But thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.